Hello YouTube. So today I am traveling into the Amazon side of Ecuador, the Oriente as they call it here. And I'm heading out to a place called the Yachana Foundation. I'm going there to learn as much as I can about agricultural systems, permaculture, responsible agriculture in this part of the world, in the Amazon jungle or the upper Amazon. And I'm doing this because I recently bought a farm out there. You're going to see that farm in a second because I'm going to stop there briefly before I head to Yachana, just to check on things and change the locks on the little cabin I have out there. And then we're gonna get into what Yachana has to teach me. This is an amazing place. This was a really fun video to make, and I learned a huge amount. I hope you will also. So let's get into it. As you can see, it's an absolutely beautiful drive through the jungle out to my farm. So this video is something I filmed a while ago, and I really procrastinated on putting out. And the reason I procrastinated was I knew the audio on this video was going to be a lot of work. There was going to be a lot of editing that I needed to do, and you'll see why when I'm out in Yachana and I'm chatting with the people out there. I really didn't have my microphone system set up right. I didn't have a microphone on the person I was talking to. So I've got to go back and forth playing with the audio, and I hope this works out. Here goes. All right, I'm at the new property. I'm out at the house, and I thought I was going to have to cut or somehow remove the old lock because the owner that sold it to me, the guy that sold it to me, had lost the key and didn't know what to do. But he wanted to get some stuff out of here, and we told him, hey, wait, give us a minute. We don't want the place just left open. Wait till we can meet you out there with a new lock, and then you can get your stuff. But he didn't wait. He broke the lock off. So I didn't have to remove the lock. Obviously, really, there's nothing to steal out here other than the wood that makes up the house itself. So doesn't really matter. A little bit rude, but doesn't matter. And it saved me from having to break these old locks off. Now I can put my new lock on here, and I'm going to go harvest some bananas in a minute. I've got some bananas that they're ripe, and I didn't have a machete last time, so now I can get them. So I brought a machete so I could get the bananas, but you see those up there? I need a ladder or something. I can't get up there. Ooh, what do I see, a wanabana? How is that in the banana tree? You see that back there? That looks like a wanabana. I don't understand how it's in the banana tree. All right, so now I am on my way out to the Yachana Foundation. As the crow flies, this place is really close to where my new farm is in Napo province, but the drive out there is actually really long. The drive is like 3 hours. Map says 3 hours and 15 minutes. I know one of the roads is a really long, bad stretch, so it's probably closer to 3.5 to 4 hours. But there is a shorter way. There's a quicker way out there. I'm told there's a ferry. It's a pretty remote kind of backwater ferry across the Napo River, and the rivers are really high right now. It's been raining a lot. The rivers are high, and I'm afraid that I'd drive out there and find that the river's too high for the ferry to run. If that river's raging, I don't think they can take cars across. So I'm not going to take the short route. I'm going to take the long route. I'm heading out to Yachana Foundation. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm heading out there. I've seen a lot of their videos on YouTube. They look like a really cool group, so I reached out to them to ask if I could basically learn from them, learn a thing or two about what they do out there, because they're nearby and it's a similar climate. So what works there will work on my property, and what doesn't work won't work. And I want to, they have a lot of experience in the area, and I want to learn from their lessons. But when I reached out to them, I was like, hey, is there anything that you might need? I'm an electrician. Maybe you need some electrical work or something. And they were like, actually, yeah, we do. So I'm going to go out there and try to help them out with an electrical problem they're having. And then I'm going to take a tour of their place. I'll take some video for you guys, show you around. I'll link them down below in the video so that you guys can go check them out and see what you think. And yeah, this is a beautiful area. Also, this is chocolate country, cacao country. All along the roadside, there are cacao beans on the pavement, on the side of the road, drying or fermenting. I'll try to stop at one of these spots where people have put their harvest out, so I can show you. It's actually pretty cool. It smells like alcohol. They're fermented, so it smells pretty intense, but it's also very cool. Right now, there's a boom in the cacao industry. So there was some sort of disease affecting cacao in Africa, and it put a big dent in the supply. And so all of a sudden, the price of cacao is at historic highs. And this has been a gold rush, a chocolate gold rush for Ecuador. And you can see it in the towns in this area. There's a lot of construction going on, and a lot of money flowing because of the sudden jump in the price of cacao. Here we go. I'm backing up. I just saw a bunch of cacao on the side of the road. I'm going to back up and show you. So there it is. You see the cacao on the right-hand side of the road, laid out to dry on the shoulder. That's what it looks like, and you'll see that all over Ecuador. So I think this is the place. I'm assuming the lodge and the foundation are the same. Getting out of the car for a minute to just listen to the jungle. I was really hoping there would be a store along the way. I have not bought supplies. I'm not really prepared, and if I have to head back into town, it's an hour plus drive to go get water and snacks and stuff like that, but no big. Super excited to be here.
Look at it. So this is the side that shows the morning time. This is afternoon time.
Awesome.
So it starts, the lines have disappeared, but 12 o'clock is here, 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock.
Cool.
And then that just shows your time of the year. So these are the months.
Oh, wow.
There. So over here, this is December. It comes here. That's January, or I mean June is all the way over here.
How do you know how far off of the equatorial line you are?
I don't.
You don't. I've researched it for my farm. I'm 11 kilometers as the bird flies. I'm right next to it.
We should look at the eye because that's the fact I don't.
You can tell on Google Maps. You can take your point and do a direct point-to-point measurement.
That would be good. Yeah.
Cool.
And then this is, of course, the equinox.
Yeah.
And this tube goes all the way through there. So,
who built this?
Cristobal Cobo. He's the guy that did the really nice solar clock right on the equator up in Quito somewhere.
Oh, wow.
So
he came out and he built this for you guys. He figured out this is how it works in this location and designed it. That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Cool. How long ago was it built?
It's been a few years, probably 5 or 6 years, something like that. They had a kind of they were having a school for teachers, or not teachers, for maestros here. And one of the projects they had them work on while they were here learning to get certified as maestros, as they built this.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Where are we heading?
We'll head down and over across. That's where most of the agriculture is on the other side. Oh, this is a cool squash. This squash here, that was also a
volunteer.
It was already growing here when I got here, and I have gotten it's gone its fourth harvest.
Fourth harvest.
Yeah.
So how big are the squash coming off of it?
They're somewhere about, they're pumpkins.
They're little small pumpkins.
Yeah.
Do you use them just for food, or do you use the casco, the outside?
No, they're like a pie pumpkin.
Okay, cool.
Really dark flesh on the inside, really delicious.
Awesome. Very cool.
But it just surprised me because I've never had one grow that long. I mean, it produces and
Right.
then
It's gone.
Flowers again.
Yeah.
And again and again.
I've got Sambo squash all over my property, and yeah, they're like one season and they're done.
Yeah.
But for every one I have, 5 more appear.
That's always good. Yeah. And do you know anything about the native bees here?
I have seen some videos. I've read a bit about them. I am definitely not knowledgeable. This is my first time seeing them in person. These are the stingless bees.
Yeah.
Right? And they produce very small amounts of honey, but it's a very valuable honey.
Yes.
Right.
So like these ones, they call them the Angelitas Negras, and they don't produce any honey really.
Really?
But these ones over here, the Angelitas, and we can look inside this box here, and they're kind of fun.
They're tiny.
Oh yeah,
They're
tiny.
really small.
Yeah.
They look, I would assume I was looking at some sort of little fruit fly instead of a bee. I would not assume it was a bee.
Yeah, so yeah, they're little tiny in these.
Hold on, I'm going to zoom in. There we go. Now I can see a little better. All right.
Yeah. So we can open it from the back. And so these, as the hive gets bigger and stronger, you can...
They fill up different levels.
Yeah, and you add more levels.
Zoom out one click here.
And then you got this little...
Barrier to prevent them from...
Yeah. And it's not as sticky. So if the wood, they stick the wood down, and it's almost impossible to open. But this...
Oh.
So this one, you can see it's got quite a lot of honey here. And yeah, there's a market for this. They've been sending it to Japan, and from the Angelitas, I think they're selling it for $125 a liter.
How much does this one hive produce per year?
About a liter. So yeah.
What's the cost of like maintenance on this? Anything?
Nothing.
Just the cost of construction, and then it goes.
It doesn't have to be this nice, right? It just needs to be kept out of there, and just they have to have flowers, because you can't feed them sugar water. They don't drink that. So you just have to have lots of flowers. Right.
So if you have the right conditions, you build it, and then it's just free money every year.
Pretty much, yeah.
Cool.
Pretty much. I mean, you have to watch, make sure they're not being
invaded by another species.
Invaded by something, or because there are other bees who are just robber bees.
Right.
And they just come and they attack our hives here.
Do you have honeybees out here?
We don't have any, no.
I've been curious about getting honeybees, but I'm really afraid of ending up with Africanized honeybees.
Yes. They're no fun.
Because I think this is an area where it's hard not to have that happen.
Yes. You can look here. There's another variety here that's really cool to look inside at it.
Okay.
These do not produce honey.
Do you have them just to pollinate, or is there something else they do for you?
They're an attraction. But they also...
It's conserving the species.
It's conserving the species. We harvested these from trees that had been cut down. So these were going to die. So we put them here, and they do help with the pollination around here. So.
Cool. Another stingless bee?
Yes. And I can't remember the name of this.
I ask a little late. You're already peeling it back. Are they stingless? Yeah.
But you can see here, these are their, what you would call that's where their...
Eggs are? Or their larvae?
Yeah. I know it in Spanish, discos de cría. I can't remember in English what in the heck they call them. But they are different because they're vertical.
They're columns.
And they're kind of like the Angelitas, if we could have seen them, they're flat discs.
Very cool.
And
very cool.
Neat. And you can see over in here, down in the bottom, they do have a small amount of honey that they do produce.
Where? So how far away? What elevation?
It was at Pacto Sumaco.
Okay.
Which is...
That's a bit higher.
Yes, it's quite a bit higher from here. It's not very far from here.
But it's cooler, it's higher, and it's in the sweet spot for Porotone.
Yeah. And so we harvested them there, but we ate them.
Right.
We had enough. and they taste just like a potato.
Right.
I mean, we could not tell the difference between that and a potato. It was incredible. But
so,
yeah.
like, I strongly suspect if you get enough of them from him, and you grow them, and you let them have a hard time, and you let the weak ones die out, you will develop the strain that will tolerate this climate.
Yep. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah. All right. Cool. I am really glad I'm here. I'm enjoying this talk. I think this is probably the first of many visits out here to
that would be great.
Learn from you guys and trade stuff with you guys. And so for the English speakers, Porotone is a plant I'm really excited about. It's something I got from the seed fair in Quito, the seed exchange. Porotone is a bean tree, like Jack and the Beanstalk. So it produces huge beans. It produces huge bean pods that usually have about 6 beans in them. They're supposedly very delicious. They're higher protein than other beans. And I'm super excited about this plant because I've now got 20 of them growing in my apartment, waiting for me to transplant them in various places, trade them with neighbors, and get them to establish in the community. I'm kind of trying to be the Johnny Appleseed of Porotone at the moment. All right, let's flip this camera back around and continue the tour.
Have you planted Porotone?
So I have one that's planted like this at a little bit of an angle, and then I've got 20 that I successfully germinated that are in my apartment in Quito, waiting for me to put them in the ground. I'm waiting until they get maybe this big because they're delicious and everything eats them.
Yes.
So I'm waiting till the Porotone is strong enough and healthy enough that I can put it in the ground, and it's going to outgrow the insects that love it.
We also got some from near Sumaco.
William told me the story. Yeah.
Yeah. And so everything does love it.
Yes.
In fact, I've had to put some used window screen around it just to give it a chance to grow up.
I direct sowed 6 of them. They germinated and were immediately eaten.
Yeah.
Just devoured.
Clipped right off.
Yeah. But I'm super excited about them. And I got mine from the Seed Exchange in Quito. There's an annual event in Quito where, I brought a bunch of taxo, some papaya de monte, some chihuacan, and a few other, like some ricotta peppers and things like that. I brought my seeds and traded and scored a bunch of Porotone. One thing I scored, and I am super excited about it, and it's a very slow growing plant. And it takes 6 months to 18 months to germinate. But one of the things I got was Chilean wine cocos. So Chilean wine cocos, they're a coconut that will grow in cool climates. They're a coconut that will grow in Quito. They'll grow in Northern California. They'll grow in Georgia and Texas. They can hard freeze because their trunk is so thick it'll protect them. But they won't germinate in that climate. They need this climate to germinate, right? So they're a fussy sort of tree, and you'll wait a year for it to grow this big. They're, before you have an actual tree, it's going to be 30, 40 years. They're very slow. But in cool climates, they'll produce an edible coconut. So they're a very cool plant. One of the most valuable coconuts out there. Endangered because they also produce a sap that is great for making an alcohol. And to collect it, the tree is cut down. So where they originated from in Chile, they're being clear cut to make an alcohol, a wine out of the sap. So other places are preserving them. Other places understand that this is a valuable tree, and they're trying to keep them alive. Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. So
carry that very far.
I didn't record the conversation here, but they're talking about banana circles. And this, stepping back here so I can get the whole thing on camera, is a banana circle. You see all the little bananas growing in a circle around a pile of organic material. And now I'm going to backtrack a little bit and show you where they describe this. So this is one that is being prepared. 2 meters wide, 1 meter deep, and when it's finished, 1 meter high, with about 7 bananas, give or take, planted in a ring around it, feeding off that organic material, that compost in the center. Very cool system. And highly productive from what I'm hearing.
These ones are mostly on the kitchen garbage.
Right.
They do incredibly well on pig manure. They love it. we had a guy that works here had pigs, and so we had a lot of manure for a while, and so I had.
So when you built this, did you do anything particular to get them started, or did they just find it on their own?
They found it on their own.
So in this climate, they'll just find it on their own, and the chickens know. They know. That's the spot. So I'm familiar with black soldier flies. Can you explain a little bit for those that aren't why you are growing fly larvae on purpose?
Yeah, so they eat organic matter, so they compost it really well. But mostly it's because they are 45% protein. And so they take high carb waste or high, garbage, and they turn it into 45% protein that the chickens love. The chickens go crazy for them.
Right.
And so
it radically reduces your cost to feed the chickens and provides them something super high protein so they grow fast.
Yes.
And the black soldier flies do not go into your house.
Right.
They don't feed. And so they're just looking for something to lay their eggs on.
They're not an annoying fly that you're going to find on your omelet in the morning.
No.
Yeah. And you can see how important they are for the chickens. As soon as the lid was off, this one was like, hey, you open the kitchen. I'm getting in there. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, black soldier flies are something that I have tried to produce up in the mountains, so far unsuccessfully. It sounds like the lesson here is that I am attempting to get them to grow in a climate that they don't really like. It's a little too cold for them. So I ended up with a bunch of other sorts of flies. But now that I have a farm out here in a very similar climate, I'm going to try again. And I think I'll succeed this time. Cool. Thank you. Appreciate it. So I'm out here at the Yachana Foundation. Funny story. I was about to help them figure out why they're getting charged so much for their electricity. I was about to throw my amp meter on the cable. And in that exact moment, when we opened up the box and I was getting ready to test, there was a power outage, the power cut. So I'm not going to be able to test it tonight. It's not going to happen. I'm going to have to check it tomorrow. And yeah, it just is what it is. Well, I think I can take a shortcut here. Let's take this shortcut through the jungle. So I was already planning on spending the night out here, but I was hoping to get the work for them done first before spending any time just enjoying myself out here. And instead, we're going to have to do things the other way around. So I'm walking to go get my swim trunks, and we're going to head down to the Napo River and go for a swim. Because why not? All right, nice swim in the river. This is the Napo River. And I've only been to the Napo in places further upstream where it's, you couldn't really swim in it. It runs a little too fast. I've kayaked it, but I haven't swam in the Napo. Here, we're deeper into the Amazon and you can swim in it. I just jumped in with my shirt on because, man, I wanted a wet shirt. I really was overheated. This is nice. This is beautiful. It's gorgeous out here. And I'm having a good time. It's exactly what I needed. Let's turn this camera around and show you what's going on. It's almost sunset on the Napo River. Over there, I don't know if you can see it in the distance, is the ferry. I'm gonna zoom in. So that's a car ferry across the river. And I'd heard about it. I didn't know that, I was afraid it wasn't gonna be running. I thought the river was gonna be a lot higher and faster than it is. But I could have driven up that way and taken the ferry across. Instead, I drove the long way around, and it ended up being almost 4 hours. William there was swimming as hard as he can and just kind of staying in place. Ah, muy bien, muy bien.
Tienes la forma bien.
All right, it's pouring down rain. I think I've wrapped up things, helping the Yachana Foundation out with their electrical. So it really does look like they are getting ripped off by their electric company. They're getting just a flat rate of $300 every month, and so they had me come out and take some amp readings and try to figure out was there any reason for that. First of all, it's really weird. They're not getting any sort of bill that shows them their usage, their kilowatts used, and what the rate is per watt or per kilowatt. And so that's weird. That's a kind of red flag to begin with. And then their amperage usage was not that high. And they also, their electric company, in my opinion, scammed them and forced them to buy some very expensive equipment, some capacitors and things like that for cleaning their power. That is the type of equipment you would use in a large industrial facility, not in a place like this where, I mean, yeah, they're running a few power tools and occasionally a water pump, but other than that, it's mostly just like LED lights and internet and a few fans. Their power usage was far less than any American home, and only slightly more than the average Ecuadorian home. So they're definitely getting ripped off. And I think I armed them with all the information they need so that they can, hopefully they'll turn it over to their attorney, and their attorney will put a stop to whoever is robbing them at the power company. Probably somebody who is getting a look at what the real bill is, and maybe it's $100 a month or $50 a month, and then charging them $300 and pocketing the difference and refusing to give them their actual bill. I guess it's been going on for a long time. So hopefully I've helped them out a lot, enough to provide my worth for what I got from them, which was immense. The amount of information and knowledge I gained just by coming out here kind of confirmed some of my ideas and plans, and also learned that I need to do a lot more research on some others. I might be on the wrong track. And yeah, this was awesome. I'm definitely going to be back here. Like I said, I'm going to link the Yachana Foundation down in the bottom here. They've got 1,000 hectares out here on Rio Napo. Place is pretty far out. It's a little hard to get to, but once you're here, it's worth the trip. It is amazing.